our next guest is coming up here. I'm glad he's here. I almost busted a vein in my head, and it would have been terrible. No one's here to give me CPR either. I'm going to play you this trailer here of a new movie that you got to see. We're going to screen it, and I'm not even going to say anymore. It's called Jones Plantation. You know we love films out here. Our members do. We screen them every Saturday. Well, we got one of the writers and the actors here. We're going to talk to Laren Rose coming up here in a second about this new film, an endeavor, and how we can get behind it and what it's all about. So here's a little trailer. Enjoy. We'll be back in 1 minute.
You can control a man for a period with brute violence, but you cannot truly own a man unless he thinks your word is law and that he must obey, and is virtuous for doing so.
We are losing money. A little more every month that goes by with no end in sight. They can sense weakness, and they are gonna smell blood like a gator to chum. They're gonna kill us both.
Mr. Scott said this man is a miracle worker. I think he can help us. You're a nigga.
Good people, good people. My name is Mr. Smith. As of this very moment, you are now all free.
Tricks you into thinking that choosing your own master.
Wonderful. I love that logo. Isn't that logo just beautiful? Anyways, speaking of that, one of the beautiful stars from the new feature film is here with us tonight. The one, the only, the most prolific, they say, writer of our time, Laren Rose. Larken, welcome to World at War.
Hey, thanks for having me. Sorry for the technical glitch there before I could get on.
My blood pressure thanks you.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. We can find an underlink. We'll blame them. No problem.
That works.
Finally, good to talk to you, Larken. You've been in the scene for quite some time. You're one of the most prolific writers, they say, and I agree to that. This film, I was surprised, and I shouldn't be, but you're starring in this film. You're one of the writers, and let's get into this. What is this movie about? And it's a period piece. I love, those type of Gone with the Wind type of era films. We don't see them much anymore. But let's get into it. What is this film about?
Well, I'm the primary writer, and it's actually based on a little animated thing I did like 15 years ago. Even though it takes place on a slave plantation, it's not actually about slavery, and it's not actually about the past. It's basically a setting which is very convenient to use as an allegory to how human beings enslave each other. And the old-fashioned brute violence, stupid way is do what I say or I hurt you. And sometimes that works, but it's usually temporary, and it's kind of dangerous because if you're the tyrant and your victims happen to get a chance to run away or overthrow you or hang you or something, it's kind of a dangerous way to enslave people. So along the way, humanity figured out that or the anti-human factor of humanity figured out that there are much more effective ways to enslave people through indoctrination and brainwashing and manipulation and deception and fear-mongering and all the fun games that we see on a daily basis in the political theater.
I mean, I have to. I can only talk about Mittens Romney so long until I just start losing my mind. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Government, in a way, is kind of like cats. They know how to control us. In a way, that's why the allegory there. But to the film here, at first glance, I thought it was almost a reference to Jonestown, for the Kool-Aid drinking experiment of the late 70s. Was that part of the creating process?
No, that was just sort of coincidence. It's Jones Plantation, no towns involved.
Exactly.
Easy mistake to make, and lots of people assumed it was about that. Although, there's parallels to that too because of the indoctrination and the mind control and all that fun stuff. But it wasn't actually a reference to that. But it's the name is just sort of supposed to be a generic name of the plantation owner who doesn't really know what he's doing. He's doing things old school, violent, evil, whip the people who don't obey you. And then along comes a consultant of sorts, a sociopathic but very intelligent consultant who basically educates Mr. Jones on how to better enslave his slaves so that they work harder, they produce more, they don't run away, they don't rise up, and they don't even recognize that they're slaves anymore, which is key to permanently enslaving somebody. The whole Goethe quote of "None are more hopelessly enslaved than those who falsely believe they are free." That's kind of most of humanity these days.
Right. Right. So, where did you guys film this? Because it seems to be on location somewhere in the South, I want to say, or was it somewhere nearby? I mean,
Yeah, we shot it down in Mississippi and Louisiana. Two different plantations, one for interiors and one for exteriors, that we just rented. They were both actual former slave plantations, which made it kind of creepy, but gave it an extra realism. With our luck, the outside shoot in Mississippi, the temperature dropped to 20 degrees, which like never happens in Mississippi. But for a week and a half, we were shooting out in 20 degrees. But yeah, we did it on two actual old slave plantations.
the old plantations, are they like a historical relic at this point, or did
Yeah, and you can
clean
visit
it up?
I think the place we used for the interior shoots, the big plantation house, I think it actually closed its doors to visitors like a couple months after we filmed there. So we just barely got to use that one. And it was really good for it because even though it's this huge plantation house, it's very old looking and sort of falling apart. And that fits with the plot of the movie because the story is that the plantation is sort of falling on hard times because they're having trouble basically enslaving people and making them be productive. So it's supposed to look like it's not doing that well. And then along comes Mr. Smith, the consultant, to show him how to properly enslave people.
Right.
I'm thrilled with what he did with it, especially given the budget we had or didn't have. It was
right.
The production budget was like 50 or 60 grand for the whole thing. That's a catering budget for the normal Hollywood.
Would you say that? Yeah, that's the bar tab, isn't it, over there in Mississippi?
Yeah, pretty much.
So, what was it like to play the Irish immigrant, as you can see here?
Well, the original script had a little bit more for that character. I ended up basically being background scenery, but I also wrote a book version to put back in all the things that don't fit into the movie. So he's an indentured servant, which is just barely a step above slave. And that's actually more discussed in the book, where you have time to get into all sorts of different things. But mostly my job, I was just doing an Alfred Hitchcock by just being in the background. The movie
Right.
I wrote, mostly I just glare at people, and I'm basically just a collaborator with the masters.
May I add a very thespionic glare? That's a glare that if you were glaring at me like that, I would leave the room. I mean, that was very, very strong. Very
That's what I did the whole movie, just glare at people.
yeah, it's just a very method actor. I take it. This is great. Larken, can we see this in theaters? Can people see it online? Are you putting it in festivals? Where can people view such a project? I think is very important.
Yeah, at the moment it's on jonesplantationfilm.com. Get it there for $10. We're trying to get it. There's a number of ways to get it on streaming platforms, and we're working on that. We're also, I think, very close to finally releasing the DVD. We have this tiny little team, and we're like getting the things out as fast as we possibly can.
Right.
Right now, the website is the main place. We've had a number of screenings in theaters, which has been really fun. I don't know how optimistic to be about any theater chain daring to show this thing. But we're still trying, and we've just privately done a number of screenings. There's actually going to be one up in Denver on October 21st.
Nice.
At a little event put on by some people I know up there. Whether we can get a chain to pick it up, that remains to be seen. We're in the early stages now. But right now, like I said, jonesplantationfilm.com is the main place to get it.
Yes. And we'll put the link in the live chats, and we'll find, speaking of chains, it's about breaking the chains. Very good point. Breaking the chains of slavery. Laren Rose, thank you for being here tonight. Speaking of which, we're going to be doing the Afterparty Classicals real style as we get started here today. And I have a special guest who's joining me, who like a security blanket he is. So I want to welcome to our Afterparty here tonight. He's going to be hanging out with us. But he's the writer, and he's also the method actor in the new film, Jones Plantation. not Jonestown Plantation, like I fumbled on there. Larken Rose. Thanks for coming to the after party, hanging out.
Good to be here. It's the least I could do after slightly botching up the being on time. Technical glitches.
Young man, do you know how late you were to class today?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
As a matter of fact.
What's in any bifocals? Anyways, we're going to be hanging out here tonight with all of you. We're with our Real Deal members, Larken, who are from all over the world, and we screen films usually every Saturday. We love it. We love independent films. I have to ask you just right off the bat, what are some of your favorite films of all time that maybe kind of inspired you? Just
hard to say. I mean, there's sort of the generic answers of V for Vendetta and Braveheart and The Matrix and fun stuff like that. Troublemaker movies. And there's lots of movies that are very well made but have no particular message. They're just entertaining.
Oh, sure.
But I think it's really important for all the times that Hollywood has used entertainment to push their just utter bunk on humanity, like we might as well put some truth into the entertainment, like when we get the rare chance to do that. So to me, like a bunch of movies that are well made and look really cool, like that's one thing.
It's inspiring, like for me, time travel has always just fascinated me. So, since Back to the Future, and it led me to so many different pathways. They would have this character named John Teeter, the time traveler. The theater of the mind, and that outlet to create, even as a young kid, when we're playing G.I. Joes and stuff, it all stems from these feature films. So it was very fruitful in my development. But you said some hardcore movies there, like a V for Vendetta and Braveheart. So maybe that inspired you subconsciously in some regard. That Mel Gibson, when he gets really angry and stuff.
It's funny because Jones Plantation intentionally does something that I don't think I can think of any other movie that does this. So often the theme of there's the bad, scary, evil empire and they're the underdogs fighting, Star Wars and Braveheart and 8 million other movies. The theme is there's this big, bad, powerful empire, and there's these courageous, principled rebels that fight against it. Hunger Games is another one. And in the end, we go rah, 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 because the rebels win, and we all go, yay, what's for dinner? Mm-hmm. And from the beginning, I want people to be somewhat disturbed by watching the movie because I want them to realize in real life, not only do the good guys not always win, but most of the good guys are cheering for the bad guys, and they don't realize it. Because the way tyranny and oppression happens in the real world isn't some obviously maniacal evil guy gets up there and says, I am evil and want to rule the world. Somebody gets up there and says, oh, if you'll give me power, I can help the poor and I can protect you from blah, 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 and yada, yada, yada. People out of their goodness fall for it. And so these well-intentioned people accidentally take the side of complete sociopaths. And then if somebody comes along and says, I don't think that guy really means well, and I don't think this is what it looks like, the good people hate that guy for trying to tell them the truth. And you can probably relate.
Are you insinuating Elvis's cousin who's running for governor?
He won't be getting my vote. You may be shocked to learn.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, by far one of probably the most, out of all the stories this week, that's probably the one I'm going to remember going into the weekend. But, you remember like the 90s, like going into the 90s, God, like every cliche, which, we didn't know back then, but now we're like, oh, like there's some movies, Larkin, that I would recommend you leave in the past when you loved it and don't watch it again. Like the movies with cops. So you had one cop who was playing by the rules, ready for retirement. The other one who was rogue, took the badge off. Maverick. He's a maverick. He don't play by the rules. He's dangerous.
But he saves the day from the bad.
Yeah. He hangs on to 18-wheelers going, 90 miles per hour by the side and takes a fleet of army down, a whole fleet. And I'm thinking, why movies like that are not made? Because the budget for that movie back then were astronomical, just talking about it, I get blurry. That's how bad it gets.
They don't play by the rules, even the rules of physics, they don't play by.
No, there's no rules. Once you take the badge off, anything goes.
That is just magic.
And then it's full on too when the good cop who played by the rules his whole career, he goes, "All right, I'm taking my badge off too for this one time." And then it's like, unity. But yeah, that's kind of what we were spoon fed. You think about those films we grew up on is the cop movies, God, the lawyer TV shows, the hospital shows.
Hmm.
You would think that the only jobs in America are cops, lawyers, and gig at the hospital.
Right. And there's one corrupt one every once in a while, but most of them are brave and
Mhm.
courageous and looking out for us.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You never see anything else. Like maybe you might see a variation of it. So they gave us Night Court. Okay, so it's kind of lawyerish, but it's at nighttime.
That's probably more accurate than most of the
Yeah,
legal
some
shows.
weird looking people and then cheers and what have you. I don't know. Everything was fine tonight. Everything was fine.
Becoming ethereal for no apparent reason.
We have a Facebook user asking if we could time travel, what year would you go back to? Very good question. Larkin, I'll ask you first. If you can turn back time, what year would you be floating to? You had to start.
I think so much of humanity has been so frustratingly stupid for so long. I would probably go back to about 100 million years ago just to check out some dinosaurs.
Okay. Sounds like the 80s to me, he said.
Same thing, more or less.
Yeah. Yeah. When the arcades were big. Okay. What I would go to, what a question. What a question. Well, you think about if we went to the medieval times, we might get killed right away. So that's kind of dangerous. You know what? I would say the 70s, right after Vietnam, before AIDS. That was a good time. The little 5-year pocket, right? So about 1970 something. Okay, what a question. What a question. Never ask me again. Okay, so here's a question I have for you. The movie process in making this film, does it make you want to never make another movie again? Or do you now have the bug where you're like, okay, I'm ready for the next one?
Can it be both?
Yes.
There were so many traumatic things about that particular production and so many ways in which we were pushing our luck and miracles had to happen for it to occur. If we had more time and like an actual budget, I think it would be really fun to make another one. But as it was, the director and I were like on our deathbed at the end of the
Oh, I
shoot.
bet.
Sleep
I bet it's crazy.
deprivation and freezing to death. And
Yeah, that'd be great. Or maybe a situation comedy, maybe a rom-com. That'd be great. We can
little
do that.
lighter subject.
Yeah, I literally was trying to make a rom-com right before the pandemic happened, and I just about got the budget, and then boom, pandemic happened. I'm like, God, typical. My luck. My luck. It would have been great. Would have been the sweeper hit of the summer, like a John Cusack movie. Ultimately, here's my ultimate idea of a film I'd like to make. And no, it's not about two cops, one who's set to retire and one who
I think
doesn't.
that's been done.
Yes, I think it's been done a lot. Or the two cops, one dies and comes back as a dog, and that's his new partner.
Somehow even worse. Yeah.
You know what? Forget. I do want to make a cop movie. This is too good. It's already there. The formula. So we get like a 70-year-old, Mel Gibson, and a 80-year-old Danny Glover to come into retirement.
I'm really happy of how many people watched it and then said, your budget was what? Because they couldn't nearly tell, which...
Yeah, I know. I heard the budget. I'm like,
I
don't know how you guys did. I'm like, clearly you blackmailed the crew to do this movie or something like for that budget.
A little
great. Yeah, like I shot I did a film called Symposium, roughly 2016, and I'm like, yeah, it was a short film, but. And by the way, a lot of people don't know short films still get nominated for Oscars out there. They just don't get televised. That's how it's the stepchild of categories for that. But we were doing this film, and just to do like we did a 20-minute movie, it was quite pricey. They had the boom mic, the guy that had the big old muff up there, and the camera guys. And then I was reading the script, and my friend John wrote it, and I could tell he wrote it because he wrote the script like he talks, which I thought he was kidding. But so I started playing my role, and I started realizing more and more. Wait a minute, he's having me play myself in a weird way. Why is what am I doing? Except I don't say bro and dude. What's up? Like he's like having me play myself, but as him. It was so stupid. I thought. This is why I probably can't be an actor. I hate the scripts, you know. So I started doing improv, which was a problem because my counterpart in the film was Melissa McCarthy's her cousin too. You know, a lot of cousins in showbiz these days are politics.
Yeah.
You'll notice. And Melissa and Jenny McCarthy's sister or cousin, whatever, and she's a proud graduate of Columbia University valedictorian in the theater arts program, and which means she can't go off script. That's what I found out. You know, I'm radio background. We never have scripts. And I've never had someone burn a hole in my head from just looking at me with a death stare before until this woman. It was incredible. So I could go off script and improv. And the Juilliard scholar of acting, she couldn't last 1 minute without a script. We have a caller here, Larken. We have a caller calling out of Sioux Falls, Iowa. Caller number 9. Thanks for calling here at Coast 103.5 FM. Thanks for calling in, caller. Mr. Watland. Thank you for phoning in here, Mr. Watland.
Yeah, hello,
What's on
Mr.
your mind?
Larkin, Dean Ryan, yes.
Yes,
Hello.
what's on your mind here tonight? You're here with DJ Dean and DJ Larken. What's on your mind here tonight?
I've just been so happy and excited for deer hunting season and everything. I think it's timed right for the invasion and everything, and I'm just having fun, looking forward to that. And
Yeah, now that's a wonderful. I'm glad you brought that up. There is a movie, a Deer Hunter, if I've ever seen one.
yeah,
a very good
that's a
film.
good movie.
Yeah, I believe. I can't believe it was in that. I know someone went rogue in that movie too, if I recall. But
Yes.
Mr. Waller, I have to ask you. You know, what is the films? As we know, Larkin said, Braveheart and V for Vendetta. I think he said Goonies too, as some of his favorite films. What's your favorite go-tos here? Like that inspired you to be who you are today, the deer hunter.
I like Goonies. I watched Goonies. That was
See what you started,
entertaining.
Larry? It was a good movie. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good movie. That was directed by Coppola, I believe. Yeah, Coppola got in that one. That was one of his last
Okay.
ones. So you're going deer hunting now. Are you going deer hunting? Do you eat the venison? Are you worried about
Venison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that worries me. Every time I step outside, even when I go to Arizona, Larkin, mosquitoes find me because my blood's very rich. My grandma told me, and sweet.
Yes, they
Where-
find me too. Yeah. It's hard to stay still on stands and quiet and everything with
Now, when you're going
trying
hunting,
to slap mosquitoes.
do you wear the garb? Do you like dress like Sasquatch and hide in the bushes? How does that look?
Yeah, you put on like
Are
a
you
ghillie suit.
blurry?
Here.
Well, I'm sorry. Say again.
You put on a ghillie suit. It's
A
like a
ghillie
sniper wears for camouflage.
Okay.
Except they make you wear an orange hat.
Okay.
And
Are
an
you
orange
sure?
vest, but, yeah.
As long as it's not the suit with the leather mask with the zipper on the mouth. Okay, just got to make sure that's not it there. But
That's optional.
now, yeah, that is optional.
But you put a blind up too. You can do that, and then get inside the blind. But you got to put a piece of orange on your blind.
This is interesting. Now, Larkin, are you a deer hunter like Mr. Watland? Have you been deer hunting before, or have you dressed in the garb when you did?
No, I've been into archery and shooting forever, and I know tons of hunters. I just don't happen to do it myself, but haven't needed to for food either. So
Yeah, I got a crossbow too.
Oh, those are fun.
Yes,
But they got red flags now. The government wants to put a red flag on you now. So,
like literally, like they put what do you mean? They like wrap you in a flag? That's
I think so. I'm not sure how that goes, but I don't think you're
Chinese
supposed
flag?
to. I'm not supposed to mention guns on TV or on the media. I don't think.
No.
They can red flag you for that, I think.
Yeah, in fact, I just red flagged you now just for saying that. See what happens? It's just automatically. I don't know what I'm doing. We have Angie who's saying, "Is it the GIMP mask, Angie?" No, it's not. How dare you? I'm flagging you now. See what you did. We have one order for okay. So you go deer hunting. You're dressed in you're wrapped in a red flag from the park rangers for your own good in case you get lost. Now, do you have to go early in the morning, like at 4 or 5 in the morning, like people when they fish?
Yes.
Walk us through this.
It's like a half hour before sunset. I'll have to double check that, but I think, and then
You might
it's,
want to double check that.
and then,
Okay.
and then you're supposed to, is it a half hour after sunset? No.
Okay.
But I think they allow you a half an hour after sunset.
So what we need to do, Mr. Watland, is we need to give you a GoPro camera so we could, view this live with our patrons.
Well, they have
And
cameras too. You can strap them to a tree, and it's
oh,
like
okay, strap-on cameras. Yeah, yeah, we could do that as well. And Larken and myself will join you on your next excursion to go deer hunting. I'm sure he's very available for this.
Dressed in bright orange to scare everything
Yeah,
away.
yeah. He'll be in orange. You'll be in red. I'll be yellow. So it'll be like the Roy B. Jiv
full
crew.
spectrum.
Yeah, if we just had a blue and then a Indian and a construction worker, we're in business.
I refuse to have a pride flag. I'm just not going to do that.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, what's the opposite of the pride flag? Just a solid color?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, we're finding out. We're finding out. Okay. Angie said, "What kind of hunting is this?" He said, "Deer." Angie, don't you get it? So you shoot the deer. Have you caught a deer? Have you got one? And what do you do when you catch one or shoot?
Unfortunately, I haven't had that many that I've killed. Maybe one or two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So we'll have to plan that, Mr. Watland. Thank you for calling in, and we'll set up a hunting trip in Iowa. Correct? Iowa.
Yes, and
Okay.
you can use a bow, which I have a crossbow, and I also have a
Okay.
black powder rifle
Okay, we'll do that.
and a
I'll bring.
shotgun. They have a shotgun season also.
I'll bring. I'll just bring it. I'll use my Tommy gun when we go. I think that would work out. Mr.
Don't
Watland,
invite Dick
thank you.
Cheney.
Oh yeah. Don't let's not invite Dick Cheney this year, if you don't mind. I don't want to get
Yeah,
shot again.
Dick Cheney's he's not on my list for.
Yeah. Really.
I'm
You know
not
what?
a tour guide for.
I just noticed he was still on mine. I forgot to erase it, so I had to get him off. But yeah, he don't shoot deer. He shoots friends. But Mr. Watland, thank you for calling. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. It's good to talk to you. Nice to meet you,
Always
Mr. Larken. Yep.
Yes. Oh, there you have it, right there. We just made hunting plans. We made hunting plans.
I'm somewhat worried.
Yeah. Larkin's going to shoot me in the ass with that bow. I already feel it. We have some people chiming in here. Here's a message for Representative Larkin here tonight. Blue Sky asks, Larkin, did you mingle with the locals in Mississippi? Good question. And
Didn't really have time to because it was such a short shoot on both sides of the river. So the funny thing is the cast and crew was 80% people who didn't know me and I didn't know them and we had never met before. Like Andrew, the director, called people and had connections and found people to play the roles. We had never done auditions before we met to shoot the thing. I mean, they did online auditions, but we had never met in person. There had been no read-throughs or anything, so it was sort of like getting to know people while making a movie with them.
That's mingling.
2.5 weeks. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, mingling.
It was fun.
Yeah, I've never thought about Mississippi before. This is so. And then I do 2 stories on this today. That's so crazy. Here's another one. Here we have a question for Mr. Watland, the deer hunter, because he's a killer. Mr. Watland, he can kill that prey like that. They call them snake eyes in the battlefield. That's right. This is from John McBride from Australia, who asked, Mr. Watland, would love where I live. We have record numbers of deers last few years. Nom, Bambi. See,
It's nom nom nom.
Okay. Oh, right. Yeah.
Found them
Bambi.
eating Bambi.
That Bambi was his girlfriend. It's just, he's into strippers, and that's how that is. Here's another one. Sean wants to go to so many people. Sean wants to go to Mississippi. So many beautiful chocolate ones. Yes, we have a we have a guy who has jungle fever tremendously. We love it. It's beautiful. Hey, I love Halle Berry. I'll tell you. Okay, so kind of in closing here, because I'm hungry now. I just realized I haven't eaten yet. Where do you see film going in movies in general? Because if I have to hear about another Marvel comic book action movie, I'm going to have just multiple heart attacks. If I have to hear how they're just ruining our childhood, remaking all the classics, I'm going to get angry. And so I don't, and I think people feel the same in a way. Nobody really goes to see these things in Hollywood's falling. Where do you see the future going with filmmaking and film in general?
Well, I think Hollywood's doing us a huge favor by basically collapsing themselves into the dirt by being so agenda driven that everybody's sick of their nonsense. And
Yeah.
that, along with the increase in technology, allowing, I'm not sure I'd call myself a normal person, but allowing sort of normal people to actually be able to afford to make movies. I think we're going to see the sort of the monopoly on films completely fall apart. I mean, of course, there's been independent films for forever, and
Yeah.
some of them are actually like outside the box. But it's hard for them to get much of an audience, and I think that's going to change, because even when what used to be the mainstream is screaming and hollering that you have to like the garbage we're throwing at you, predictable cookie cutter.
Well, it's like too. I mean, are we really buying that Tom Cruise is this agent of the secret state that can kill people with one grip? No, or George,
Yeah,
any of these guys. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It just
yeah.
Tom Cruise is not scaling the walls and to find the bad people. It's bloated. What I love about it too, to add to what you said, is I've noticed in the past few years, and the Sedona Film Festival too is really really good stuff. But a lot of film festivals, people are like, well, I can't drive to wherever Cannes Film Festival. But a lot of film festivals are independent themselves and done online, where you could buy tickets to them to view them online, and you don't necessarily have to be there in person. And it's a great time in music as well, and films, and what we do here, television in a sense, online, for us to recreate what we love about the cinema in a sense, but also add new ideas and not recycled ones too, like we've been seeing over and over. So I'm very excited for that front, and we want to screen this for our members. Again, it's the Jones Plantation Film. We'll work that out with your people. Your people.
We arrange that.
I missed this one. Blue Sky says, Dean, your blood pressure would go up if you visited Mississippi. Interesting country, folks. Yeah, it might. I mean, well, it depends. I mean, if Brandon Presley is governor, that might be something interesting, shouldn't it? We'll see what that happened. Facebook user says, Mr. Potato, superhero. Yeah, I mean, you might as well. Don't ask me why, Larkin. I hated all these stupid comic book movies, but the one I did see by accident was Ant-Man. It's about a guy that shrinks the size of an ant, but he's a superhero. I mean, it's out of all the characters and heroes, is probably the worst one. Right up there with the Banshee, the guy that just screams really loud and makes your ears bleed. It's just
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what that would be. Anyways, all right, everybody, we're out of here. This is the Real Deal After Party. What's it called? You know what it is, Larkin? I'm trying to humanize myself. Humanize. You ever find yourself having to do that? Like, I have to humanize myself.
I don't even try to be human. Yes.
JonesPlantationFilm.com. That's JonesPlantationFilm.com. We'll put that out there for all of you. So for Larken Rose, for Mr. Watland, the killer on the field, the deer. I almost said the deer-born killer. No. The hunter, the deer hunter, and the rest of us here. Thank you all, members. I will see you very, very soon. Very, very soon. Yes. He takes his last few bites of corn before he becomes tonight's dinner. Sebastian the crab had a long life, but not worth living. As he spends his last few moments marinating in his environment, he says farewell. Good night, everyone.
Real deal gold. Because anything else would be uncivilized.